hope you guys are blush lovers because today we're going to be talking all about new blushes. I have 12 blushes here I want to just swatch with you, put on my face, apply with you. The start of summer this year, it's just gone blush bonkers, okay? There's so much new stuff. So some of the new stuff that I have, I did pick up 2 shades of the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil. So I'm going to be trying 2 shades on. I have the color Rose Crush and Barely Blushing. Those are the 2 I bought. I also bought one of the Saie Glow Sculpts, and this can be used like as a blush, as a highlighter. It's kind of a dual purpose thing. So I picked up Pink Glow in that. Persona's come out with a new cream blush. This is actually in collaboration with Sarah Wolak. So I'm going to put that on. I'll also give you some swatch comparisons. I have the new Lawless blush. This is that watermelon one that came out. So I have that. Some Sigma cream blushes, which if you are on my Instagram, you saw me just swatch them. I thought I would put those on my face so I could show you them. And then last, for like an overview here, I have this Saie blush, which I got in my Sephora haul, and I thought I would just show it on for you guys. And I also have some Armani blushes that I also thought, let's put them on. They're still new-ish, and I thought it would be fun. So lots of blushes, and I don't even have, I feel like, the hottest ticket blush that there is right now, which is that Dior one. I went on the website, and Desert Rose is sold out. That's the one I wanted. There's like a cherry one, mahogany, and another color as well. So I don't have those. I'd love to know if you pick them up, if you've tried them, let me know your thoughts. And if you want to see me pick them up, let me know, because maybe I'll make it a point to get them. But man, I know there has to be more blushes than that too. It's just been blush fever, and I have it, baby. I love the blushes. I'm all for it. So I have a nice, clean, just like simple face on today. I just wanted to be able to really show off the blushes. So let's just actually start getting into it. I'm not gonna make you wait. We're gonna do the Makeup by Mario first, because these are like things I'm really excited for. I almost bought all of them, and I was like, what if you hate this formula? What if you hate it? Like, don't get all of them. So we're not going to do all of them, but I will be applying all the cream blushes with my BK Beauty. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy collab A507. You already know is my favorite brush. I don't know if they're doing a Memorial Day sale, so I'll leave the link down below. I also do have a code with them if they aren't doing any type of sales. So anyway, I love that brush. You guys already know. I just never talk about brushes, and I really should. So this is the shade Rose Crush. This is a really pretty color, and it was hard though online. I was like, what will I actually like from this line? Because they almost all leaned a little bit more mauve-y, or I don't know, just a little bit different than a lot of the blush ranges coming out lately. And then this one here is the Barely Blushing. So that's the difference, holding them up next to each other. They're very creamy and emollient. They're actually reminding me a lot of the Sigma formula in that they have a glossiness. Oh wow, very sheer on that one. Very, very show. I don't know if that's even gonna like really work for me. I know it's gonna give a radiance from like the actual formula, but it's also thin, and I like the Sigma formula a lot, so it'll be interesting. But I'm glad I only got 2 so far, so we can really tell. So let's do the lightest one on this side. Again, Barely Blushing. I'm just loading it up. I kind of feel like I don't need to be scared of this color, but I've done that before, and mistakes were made, you know what I mean? I also do think that for me, at least I have oily skin, that applying with a brush is gonna be the best application for me. I'll go over what I have on my face in a second and like what I'm kind of resetting everything with. But this is definitely barely blushing. Like, we are barely blushing. We're getting some radiance from the actual formula itself, because I do not have any highlighter on, anything like that. I really wanted, again, the blushes to shine. I did put on some of the Kosas though, I guess, but no like true highlighter. So all that radiance is definitely coming from the formula of the blush. Really pretty. If you don't want too much of a blushy moment, I do think that this is nice. And I also feel like if you have a problem with blushes looking powdery, like this doesn't have that issue. Very soft, very subtle. I feel like I like a little bit more blush, to be honest, but I do think that there's someone that this would work for sure. And I do appreciate that you can't really fuck it up, you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to use since it's such a light amount of pigment, and it works as like a nice base. So far so good with that one. Clean, clean, clean. I am glad though that I picked up this Rose Crush color. I was hoping they would be pretty sheer anyway, and so even though, you know, this is a little bit more pigmented, I think it'll be exactly what I'm hoping. So I'm gonna take a little bit off there, and then just go in. Let me find a mirror so I can see what I'm doing. This is just more my style currently. I think it's interesting because I really used to love like a nude blush, and I still do like something with like a brown to it, a neutral tone to it, but I just feel like I'm getting more life and like enjoying the look of something with a little bit more vibrant pigment to it. But then that also can be difficult to kind of manage, because if it's too much pigment, sometimes on my skin it can just look a little bit much. But so far with this formula, it's been pretty easy to control while also still getting that blushy color. And I feel like I got more dew from this side, and I noticed that in the swatch as well. Like, it's almost as if the actual product genuinely just has less pigment per product, and somehow that makes this more glowy, whereas there's more maybe pigment in this one, and so the glow doesn't come through quite as much. I don't know. At least for me, that's what I'm noticing here. I'm gonna build up just a little bit more, really blush it up so we can see the color, but I do think it's really beautiful. The Makeup by Mario products are always, I feel like, pretty easy to use and give that really flawless, beautiful, like luxe look. So I'm really happy so far with how this went on. I don't feel like it's disturbing my foundation underneath. It looks really nice. So I'll zoom you all the way in. Hello, hopefully everything looks okay. But this is that Barely Blushing shade, and this is the rose one. What is it called? Rose Crush. Both are really pretty. You'll notice as we go through, blushes tend to look pretty damn similar on me. Like, I know that these, you can tell the difference, but for some reason my face takes on blushes and makes them very similar. So I'm hoping we can actually see the differences with comparing like this. So far very happy with these blushes. I don't know if I'll pick up the other shades because I feel like a lot of them are similar, but then maybe go deeper or just are like slight variations. And again, I think I would want a little bit more difference between them, but pretty dang happy with the two that I have for sure. Even this one, I can kind of see myself getting into it, even though Rose Crush is my first choice for sure. Also, I didn't mention, please forgive my nails. We are in flux in the moment, and oh my gosh, this is the worst part of having nails, let me tell you. Oh my god, yikes. Yikes. Now to gently remove my makeup. As I reapply this, I thought I would let you know what I'm using. So my base today is the House Labs. I've really been loving this for a nice, easy base, and the color matches me pretty well right now. Also, which is another reason I've been particularly choosing to use it. I love how lightweight it is on my skin, but it still gives such good coverage, I feel like. I'm like, how is it doing this? It's very nice. And then I do set that down with just a little bit of powder. This one is from the Too Faced little palette. I know, this is the one I keep using, guys. All right, we're on to round two. We're gonna do that cream highlighter blush thing from Saie. I don't know how this is going to look, so it'll be interesting. This is the shade Pink Glow. Ooh, first dip in, let's see. It's doing the Charlotte Tilbury moving around in the pan thing. That is what it looks like, very metallic. This is definitely gonna work more as a true highlighter on me with a little bit of that pinky like flush. So here's a swatch of it. Ooh, really pretty. You can see when it's not reflecting though, how it has more of that base on it. So that will be interesting to kind of tap on. I almost want to use this in conjunction with maybe the Persona blush. I kind of want to see it on its own too, so we'll see. Let's do a little bit of this. So the new Persona stick blush, this is called Bloom. I do have a code with Persona. I'm not sure if it works on collab items, but I'll leave it down below. I think it's Lauren May 10. I think that's it, but it's down below. Anyway, this is a really pretty peachy color. It has definitely like a creaminess to it in the base. So it's not like pastel, but it definitely has something like that going on. I'm gonna actually take it just from the tube and get it on my brush first. These are super, super creamy. I really love these cream blush sticks, you guys already know. I'm excited to look how it's blending out. I'm excited. I'm gonna put the blush on this side. I'll tap the highlighter over. I'll do just the highlighter over here as well, and then see what we like. Oh, I like this color. I didn't know if I was gonna like this because it seemed kind of creamy. Like, Again, has that like a little bit of like a white base to it, but it's really pretty. It's like giving me a little bit of that color, but not as like red toned or like sunburnt as a lot of the colors I like lately have gone. That's it, applied pretty lightly. Definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone. I know that sounds so funny because I feel like this is most people's like type of blush they use every day, but this one's definitely a little bit different for me. You have to let me know what you guys think. I can't wait to keep trying this and figuring out best ways for it to work, what color combinations I like to put it with, and all that. I thought before I put the Saie on, I would show you some swatches of the other blush sticks from Persona. So on the top here is Bloom, then that's Teddy. That's my favorite shade, you guys already know. This is Kiss, the red one. Then there's Bubble, which is a kind of like baby pink, and then Jam here at the end. So definitely different than any of the other shades in the line. And this one reminds me more of Bubble in formulation, again, because it's not that sheer peach. It has more of an opaque base to it, like Bubble, I feel like does. All right, let's put on this cream from Saie. I am excited to tap this on. I'm gonna tap it over the blush first because, to be honest, I feel like because it has that bit of a base, this is more how I would actually wear it. I feel like it going into a blush is gonna kind of hide and complement in a way that kind of base that it has while letting the glow happen. So that's it. I think it's pretty, but let's see it on its own. I almost feel like one of the cream highlighters or highlighting blushes from them that has more color might have been a better option maybe. This is what it looks like. It's definitely giving a nice glow. I almost wish that it sheared out in a different way. Like, this is more kind of fully metallic almost in the look of the shine, instead of having a little bit more sparkle to it or kind of like breaking up in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just a little bit more metallic full on than I want. I wish it was like a little bit softer but still sparkly, if that makes sense. Like, I know that's so specific, but anyway, that is it. I don't feel like the cast on it is too bad though, just tapping it out with my finger like that. I'm also gonna put a little bit on my nose. Let's see how that looks. Do not mind my fingernails. I told you. They look horrendous. It looks pretty on the nose. It is pretty, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong, this is first impressions. I might come back and be like, I love it. It is showing my texture a little. I just like, I really love the Rowan glow stick. That's one of my favorites, and I feel like I would choose that over this still at this point, but I definitely want to keep going with it. Like, it almost has a matte quality to it. You can see it a little bit more on this side, but it's more about like, it's more opaque. Does that make sense? Like, it's the way the shine is like opaque, and so I feel like it's a little bit harder to make it look more natural blended in, at least with my fingers, but maybe with a brush or different stuff. I don't know. I need to keep playing with it, but that is Pink Glow so far. Okay, this is how I try to like save the rest of my face. So I'll remove a little bit with the wipe, and while it's still kind of wet around the areas, I try to blend the edges. And then once I feel like that looks a little bit more seamless, I then go in with just a little extra foundation to tap over it. And I feel like that's how I try my best to not have too many lines of demarcation between powdering and not and all that stuff, just in case you're ever trying to switch your makeup fast. Let's switch it up and do some powder for a second. I want to try these new Armani with you. I have tried one of them on camera already, and that was this one here. This one's 50, and it is like a peachy golden color. So it kind of reminds me of like NARS Orgasm. Very subtle, but it has that like sheen to it, so it gives like a little bit of a highlight as well. And then the other shade that I have, this one's like the trendy color. This one's 52, and it's that like baby pink that everyone is obsessed with right now. And I'm not gonna lie, like I got this because everyone loves baby pink, and I'm like, okay, I can get into it, but I've been a little intimidated, and I wore this the other day and I actually really quite liked it. But there's something to that color because it's so cool toned and sometimes kind of goes out to something a little more dusty pink that, you know, even with my tan, and I'm not even like super tan, but it definitely, I have to adjust some things, I feel like, or I just have to kind of get used to that color. It's a little bit different than I'm used to. So for these blushes, I'm just going to use a powder brush from BK Beauty, the 107. I really want to like get a nice swatch going. So I'm going to start with the golden one and see how that looks. let's put it on this side. No, we'll put it on this side. I don't know how to feel about these. In some ways, I can see them being super easy to use. Like I said, this is not the first time I'm applying these ones. And the amount of pigment that's on them makes them really, I feel like, user-friendly overall. But I also feel like I haven't quite fallen in love. And specifically with this shade, like, it's pretty, don't get me wrong, but it's just not my style. I didn't realize the gold flip on this one. I'm gonna turn it down one. I didn't know that the gold flip on this was gonna be so strong. And so you can see that there, like, where's the blush? It's like a little bit, okay. But then it's like, boom, gold highlighter. And it's like a yellowy, almost kind of orangey gold that comes through. And so just on my skin and just for what I like, I'm kind of like, it's okay. It's just not my everyday, and I was hoping this would be more of like an everyday blush for me. But you can see when I'm straight on, you can see only the blush of it. And then you see the highlighter. So I'm not the biggest fan. It's not the worst blush, but I'm just like, it's okay. It's all right, you know. I think these are quite expensive, so to me, I definitely feel like you can find this in drugstore. The new Essence blushes that are baked, I feel like you can get that for sure. You can get that from it at least. All right, the brush is all freshened up. Let's do this pink on the other side. Like, you can really see how pigmented it is. Ooh, it is really pretty. And I feel like I liked this application quite a bit. Like, I was scared of it, but I was like, oh, because it's such a soft color, and like, although it's definitely giving the pink, it felt a lot easier to use than I was kind of anticipating. But this is also like, I think that I'm just maybe not into matte blushes a ton. Like, I do like a little shimmer, a little satin, a little skin something, because this definitely, you know, gives that kind of blurring effect that the matte blushes do. But there's something about it that makes me feel a little dusty. I don't know, like on the, around the edges, like it's almost like, oh, you got a little powder there, you know, like, oh, get that powder off. But I also know that this is like the trendy look right now. I'm gonna zoom out just a little. So that's the one with the shine to it. This is the one that's just pink, and I think it just looks foreign to me to have a matte cheek. I'm so used to shine. I'm so used to something a little bit more skin-like, and so I think I just have to get used to seeing this kind of matte look on my cheeks with it. So there's a little bit of that, and also just the color. But for this hot pink, this is a pretty easy usable color. Like, I didn't feel like I had to be scared of it, and so I actually think I might like it in some ways even more than the other color, just because this color really doesn't quite suit me either. So I don't know. I know that's kind of confusing, but it's a pretty hot pink. If you're looking for one, you want something that's going to be user-friendly and you're okay with it being matte, I do feel like there's something pretty dang flattering about this. I just need to kind of get over having shimmer on my cheeks at every moment of the day. It's one of those cases where you're just not into it because you're not used to it, I think, overall. So those are the Armani blushes. Definitely different looks. I just think for me, I'm still really drawn to this side and the shimmer and the shine and even the dimension. I don't know what that is. I do feel like this side maybe looks a little bit lifted though from that shine, but I feel like this just looks more realistic to real life. I don't know. There's just something, maybe again, it's just familiar. I'd love to know any of your thoughts on that, because I do feel like they're doing something different for my face right now. It might be subtle, but this one does feel a little bit more lifted, even though I feel like I tried to apply them very similarly. So I think it has to do with that shimmer and matte formula. Right now, this is my natural rosiness from filming this video. But luckily, I'm not feeling too much stinging. I'm trying to be really gentle so I don't get chapped cheeks. I've literally had that happen before. All right, I think I'm gonna do these two next, and then we'll finish it out with the Sigma. So I wanna use this Lawless blush. This one is actually a powder though. So this is the Make Me Blush Talc-Free Velvet Blush in the shade Watermelon. And this is what it looks like. I wanna show it actually against the Armani. So this is the Armani, and this one's the Watermelon. You can see that the Watermelon shade is definitely more saturated. I'll get some swatches though. But what's kind of exciting about the Lawless one is that it's not a straight up like powdery matte. So it'll be interesting to see the difference of it applied. So that's the Lawless one. I had to build that up a bit. And then that's the Armani. So I don't know. Let's apply. Let's apply. Because it's talc free, it's definitely not as powdery. Like, that's something I'm noticing right off the bat. And so I was a little bit scared of this color, but it's applying really well. I can't tell if it's getting maybe a little bit of hard pan, but I was like digging my finger in there, so who knows if that was maybe the best plan. I like that though. I feel like this one looks a little less powdery on my skin. It's still giving that matte effect, but it's not nearly as powdery. It's kind of reminding me of the new House Labs blushes in some ways in formula. This one also almost feels like it's coming from under my skin as opposed to, again, sitting on top. I'll zoom you in a second. I don't know, it's so interesting. I'm like almost wanting to say I like this one better, but than the Armani, just because one of the issues I was having with the Armani is like feeling like it looked almost like a little powdery on the edges, like, you know, to build it up in color. But this one, I get like the punch of color without any of the actual powdery look, but it's still that matte look. You have to let me know what you guys think. It's so weird, matte blushes, I'm realizing. I don't know if I'm ready to do it. Let's go for a completely different color though on this other cheek. This is the Saie liquid blush. I picked the color Spicy Up. I had seen Amanda Z do like a little video with this on Instagram, and I was like, I guess I need to get it. Let's clean this brush off because this is science here. I hope that leaving it on this long isn't bad. I have worn this one, I think twice at this point, and I did really quite like it. You know, with liquids, I'm realizing I'm not sure how I feel about them. I definitely think they're best for like more minimal base makeup because it can be more serum-y or kind of look more natural. And I feel like it's hard to layer these products sometimes over a base, but this is more what I'm like used to in terms of what I want my blushes to look like and the finish that they are on my skin. You can see that this is giving like a natural glow from the liquidy product itself. It's giving me the blush. It almost looks like a little bit sunburnt, I guess, but it doesn't have that like matte kind of filter look like this one does, which is smoothing. It's very smoothing, but I'm just not I'm used to the texture and the shine and the glow and looking like I'm at a summer party kind of sweating a little. Like I kind of like that look, to be honest, or I'm used to that look and I do like it. So I can't tell, like I said, if I will get into this look. I just need more time with it, but I do feel that same kind of lifted thing going on. I don't know, it's something about the way the matte is, I think, where this just feels a little bit more swept up. Even though I feel like I applied this the same way, the way it's reflecting makes a difference. So I love Spicy. I think it's a really pretty color. I don't feel like it affected any of my base today. It looks like it's gonna have a lot of punch to it, but it really shears out nicely. And this type of color is something I like as well. That red that's kind of coming out, it's neutralized by some brown as well. But what it does is it looks really natural. Like this looks like a natural flush that I would have on my actual cheeks. And so in that way, I really like that about products like this and those kind of rosy sunburn types of colors. I feel like it tends to look color-wise like this side is a little bit more flattering with the other tones going on in my face. And again, maybe that's what I'm used to, but it is more warm as well, whereas this is going more cool toned. So that is the Saie blush, and this is the Lawless. I am excited to have this in my collection though and just kind of keep trying it because this color is so trendy and I love it on everyone. Like when everyone else puts it on, I'm like, I need it, I want to try that. But the translation, you'll have to let me know. Is it happening over here to me? I'm not sure. To be determined. All right, we're on to the last 4 blushes. I think we've done it. This was not nearly as like hard as I thought it was gonna be. In terms of the conditions of my cheeks, they're doing pretty good so far. Anyway, I have 4 of the cream blushes. I think there's only 4. I think I have all of them, but I have 4 of them anyway from Sigma, and I thought I would swatch these out. Like I mentioned, I did do just a quick little video on Instagram swatching them, but I really wanted to get all the colors out for you and also show them on my cheeks. I was super excited. These were in PR, but they were in the bags from the Charleston trip, that creator and friend trip that I went on. So these are the colors here. Let's get to swatching. So this first one, this is the shade Coral Dream. Really, really pretty. This one here is called Nearly Wild. It is a beautiful kind of reddy color. Love that. Then the most neutral one is Cor-de-rosa, which has the most like brown in it. That one is really beautiful, one of my faves. And then last here, this kind of pinky one, that one there is called Pashmina. So those are all of the colors of the blushes. I am going to apply, I think, similar colors like the coral and Pashmina. Those are the most similar. So I'm gonna apply them together so we can see the most difference between them. And then we'll do the other two. So I'm gonna do Pashmina first, the more pink one. This to me kind of feels like the creams of the Makeup by Mario, and that's like thinner and kind of emollient. It's actually, I don't know, very similar to me in that. Look how pretty that is. I love it. And the formula in this, like it's thin, but still pigmented. And then the actual formula itself has a little bit of a shine to it, but it kind of dries down. So it's not like sticky at all, but it does have a little bit of a sheen coming off of it, but not a sticky sheen, which I really like. And then even here, I don't know if you can see it, it just doesn't feel like it's sitting on top. I really like it. It's super pretty. I've just found they're really easy to work with and I've really enjoyed them, which makes me so, so happy. It's kind of like the Makeup by Mario ones. I was a little bit nervous I wouldn't like them because I could tell they were gonna be a little bit more creamy and thin, and I just wasn't sure if they were gonna work for me, but I'm so happy that those do, it seems, and then also these Sigma ones do too. This is the Coral Dreams. It picks up a lot on the brush, so I'm kind of like tapping it off on the side just so I have more control over what I'm applying. I hope we're gonna see the actual difference between these two. Like, this is what I'm talking about. These are different colors, and the coral one's definitely more warmed, but overall I feel like they look very similar on me. Like, if I walked out like this, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So I feel like whichever one you like most might look similar, but also colors like this, like people's undertones, the slight changes in these undertones compared to their undertone can completely change if something works or doesn't. So for me, for whatever reason, these look very similar, I feel like, on, and I don't necessarily need both. I kind of weirdly like the pink one. I don't know why, over the coral. I do think this is really pretty too, and you know, looking at them I can see the slight differences, like the warmth coming off here and then the more pink, but for some reason I'm a little bit more partial to the pink shade as opposed to the coral, at least side by side here. All right, we're on to the last two shades. This one I would say is one of my favorites, definitely the one I've used the most. Really quite enjoy it. I think it's really pretty, Cor-de-rosa. So I'm gonna put it on over here. I feel like this one, as opposed to Coral Dreams, is the one I would go for, or again, go for that pink one, just because I feel like this does warm up on my skin in such a nice way, but it still has a little bit of neutrality to it, but still the punch. And I feel like that's really what I've been loving right now with my blushes. I kind of am sad that I'm doing this video right now, but I really wanted to get the Makeup by Mario out to you guys, as well as the Saie cream. But I do have some blushes coming from Phytosurgeons. I decided to put in an order because I've just been loving them so much. So I'll have to show those off in a video soon. I don't even have them yet. That's why they're not in here. It's not like I'm just choosing not to. But I really love this shade. It just feels like, again, that perfect mix of color and neutral that I think looks so pretty. Love that. I love that. And it goes on just so nicely. I really love that one. But then this one is also really beautiful and gives me kind of that more sunburnt look. I'm excited to show you. And I might bring a little bit of that across my nose because I really love these more like burnt ready type of colors, like rosy reds that aren't like bright reds. I love those kind of across the nose and a little bit more on the face, like in that kind of sun-kissed look. All right, I'm just gonna tap it in once. And then I'm tapping a little bit on the back of my hand. This one, again, I feel like really mimics the actual redness that comes through in my skin. And then because of the formula, it just looks really natural, I feel like, for me. For it being more of a red blush. I feel like I brought it a little forward, so I'm just kind of tapping some of that back with my brush. But that is Nearly Wild on this side. So, I mean, this is definitely my go-to every day, but I still do like using this one, especially too as a cream. I feel like my skin eats the color, and by the time I get done with the rest of my makeup, I'm like, oh, I could use a little bit more, and this is a nice color to kind of start with and then add a powder on top of. So those are the Sigma blushes. And all the other blushes, if I had to give you a little bit of a ranking or something, like things I'm most excited for at least, I will say I am definitely super excited to keep trying the Makeup by Mario. I do like the formula so far. I'm interested to keep trying the Barely There blush, Barely Blushing, because it's barely blushing on me, but I'm kind of interested to see if I grow to like that more or if I grow to be like, no, not for me as I continue to try them. Pleasantly surprised by the Lawless, and I can't wait to keep testing that out. The Giorgio Armani, just, I think that they're nice. These two colors at least do not get me as much as I wish that they did for the price especially. I do like the Bloom shade from Persona, and I'm excited to keep testing it as well. I mean, Teddy is still my favorite, which Teddy also has that more opaque base, but I think the way the color is makes me think of it a little bit differently. I still think I like Teddy over this, but I am excited to see how this works for me for summer. Saie blush is beautiful. If you like a liquid blush, you like something more natural, kind of serum-y that blends out nicely, this is great. And then the Sigma ones I think are super solid too. If you like the idea of the Makeup by Mario, but maybe like the color selection of the Sigma more, I'm telling you, I just find them very similar in formula so far. They're just very reminiscent of each other for sure. And then last, the highlighter, I definitely need some time with this. I mean, I love the way it looks on my nose, and I don't have anywhere else on right now, but I'll get back to you. This is such a big compact. I was not expecting it to be so massive. I almost wish I could see the other colors. Like if I go in store, I'm definitely gonna swatch some other colors and see how those look, because I could see this formula being really pretty in maybe other colors for me too. So that might be something I look into, but I'd love to know your thoughts. Which ones are you excited to try or not? Are there other blushes out there? I know Valentino is coming out with some liquid blushes. NARS just came out with some liquid blushes. Like I said, the Dior ones are out now. There's just so much going on in the blush world for sure. I'd love to know what you're interested in. What are some of your favorites right now? What can't you put down? I feel like for me, Phytosurgeons is the one. It's just so good. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.